crumpets. Let's make some crumpets. They're really easy, really simple, and actually so tasty for breakfast. Let's get right into it and I'll show you how it's done. Crumpets are one of those really simple things to prepare because you can just do it as soon as you get up in the morning, leave it to stand while you're getting showered and ready and dressed, and then you can have them ready for breakfast. So I start with my milk and water. I've got mainly milk, a little bit of warm water in here. And I use whole milk for all my recipes. Totally up to you what you do, but I find that it really comes out much better when you use whole milk. And I use about a tablespoon of dry active yeast. That's about 15 grams. You can also use fresh yeast, and it's always twice the amount of dry yeast, so it's really simple to remember. And it's the instant yeast that you want to use. You don't want to use fast-acting yeast, things like that, because they just don't work at all. They take ages to warm up. And then we're going to add in a little bit of caster sugar, just a tiny bit. You could also use some coconut sugar or darker sugars if you like. That just means that your crumpets will be slightly more golden and caramelized in the end, but we want it to go classic, so I just use normal caster sugar. And I warm up my mixture because, as with all my other videos, and if you haven't seen them yet, tune into them, I always activate my yeast first, and that's really easy to do, but very important because yeast needs a really nice ambient temperature. So I'm going to turn on my Thermomix now on 37 degrees and for 2 minutes, and I'm going to show you what I do next. Now that it's warm, I'm just going to add the other ingredients in. So simple. I've got strong white bread flour, and you could also use a mixture of strong white bread flour and plain flour. Your crumpets will just get a little bit less bready and a little bit more chewy. It's just like a thing that you can experiment with, but as long as you end up on the same amount of flour, you'll be absolutely fine. I've just got strong white bread flour, and I add in a tiny bit of salt. A little bit of salt is very important because it enhances your flavors. Just make sure you never put that straight on top of your yeast because it will kill the yeast. And then we're going to add in a little bit of bicarb soda. That will help with our bubbles because we want really nice bubbles for crumpets. And then I'm just going to mix this together on speed 3. The mixture looks a little bit like this now, and it's not quite incorporated well, but you've just kind of incorporated a little bit. So we're going to go on speed 5 now for a little while longer so that it really beats it, and then we're going to leave it to stand for a good 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how warm it is in your house, until it's really bubbled and frothed up. Now it's time to actually fry our crumpets because the batter has been going for a while and it's looking delicious. It's proper frothy. That's what we want. And we don't actually want to destroy it much. We want to just sort of be really careful about it at this stage because we have just got it to bubble up really well. So I'm going to preheat my frying pan now, and I'm going to show you exactly how I bake these guys. So to do this, it's actually quite simple. You just need to prepare your equipment in advance. So I've just got my largest frying pan on the go. It's a non-stick frying pan. You could also use a skillet if you like to, and I've got it on medium heat, so not too high, not too low. And I've got 4 crumpet rings, and I've got a little bit of vegetable oil. So what I do is take a bit of vegetable oil and oil these guys all the way around, inside and out, just in case, you never know. And then I'm going to put them into the frying pan because they'll heat up with the frying pan, and so you basically just make sure that they're not cold. And that's obviously where later on you're going to need some gloves. Make sure to have some gloves ready because if you're going to lift them out, it's going to be really hot. So just keep oiling all 4 rings. If you have less rings, cool, just means that you have to keep going a bit more. I've got 4 rings here, and I'm just going to oil them. They're really nice, they're non-stick, and if you can get non-stick, that's really good. Leave me some comments below and tell me what you put on your crumpets. I'd be interested to see that. I tend to just go for jam or even Nutella. I'm totally boring like that. And now, once that's warm, give it a few minutes. We're going to pour in our batter. So I'm just going to pour in about 4 to 5 tablespoons worth of crumpet batter. And you can obviously pour it right in if you like. Just be very careful you don't destroy any of these lovely bubbles because that's where your entire crumpet will go. It's this lovely bubbliness, and you don't want to lose any of that, so just try and be very careful when you pop it in not to burst any of those bubbles. In order to tell when they're ready to be flipped, basically you just need to look at them. What happens is the bubbles at the top start bursting and not come back. So here's some which are not quite ready to be flipped, whereas this one is already ready to be flipped because that's the one I put in first. And that's exactly what you want to look out for, because if you do it too early, the batter will just splash everywhere when you are flipping them around. So I just take it off now. It looks really nice. And then I'll just tease it out. I use my oven glove for that. and then flip it over, and that is how it should be looking. So that is what they call a crumpet, and it's really good because it smells delicious, and apparently Hermione approves too. So if you want to make these guys, get on with it quickly because they're so tasty, and make sure to hit that bell button and subscribe to my channel for more incredible recipes. These are done, and I'm gonna have some breakfast now. That is really good.